Hello there, good afternoon. As the teams walk out of Turf Moor, we've got full match commentary live from Turf Moor as Burnley take on West Ham. Earlier today in the big game, you will have probably seen before the 3 o'clockers, we had a 0-0 draw, a born 0-0 draw at Anfield between Liverpool and Manchester United. But our featured match comes from the turf, so let me bring you the two lineups in just a second as the two teams emerge from the tunnel. Good atmosphere as it always is at the turf on a day like today, and West Ham really are the second favourites. You'd have to. A lot of people fancying the Clarets will win here today. They've performed admirably this year, certainly away from home. The Clarets, as we've seen many a times, they epitomise that team spirit with a 1-0 win over Everton. So plenty of scope. Let's look at that Burnley side then. So Nick Pope starts in goal, back four Loughton, Tarkowski, Mee and Ward, and then it's Brady, Cork, Defoe and Arfield. Henrik will play in the number 10 role, and Chris Wood will play as the lone striker. Lingard, Taylor, Vokes, Barnes, Gunmanson, Westwood and Long are the substitutes for the Clarets this afternoon. Magnificent performance they have. So obviously Tom Heaton is watching on today. Let's have a look at the West Ham lineup with Joe Hart in goal, Zabaleta, Font, Reed and Creswell the back four. Antonio, Lanzini, Chiate and Anautovic are the midfield foursome with Carroll and Chicharito and Anders up front. Adrian, Aubameyang, Seko, Noble, Ayew, Ogbonna. And I didn't get the opportunity to read the other substitutes out. I'll just recap that substitutes bench. Adrian for West Ham, Aubameyang, Sako, Noble, Ayew, Ogbonna and Mascako, whose name I failed to mention. So a lot of pressure here on West Ham, a lot of pressure on Slaven Milic. Not so much for Burnley. Great start to the season, 12 points from their opening 7 games. Sean Dyche has done a terrific job so far. Hasn't beaten West Ham yet as a manager. Come a couple of times, close a couple of times. Last time they met was on the final day of last season when West Ham came from 2-1 down to came from a goal down to win by 2-1, and that's how it finished on that final day. And me and Winston Reid, the two captains there, tossing up the referee, and we'll find out who the referee is in just a second. The two Impact, and they're only charged today. It's Stuart Atwell. Let's hope he has a trouble-free game. David Gold in the director's box on the far side. And it's coming towards that time of year where the winter jackets are coming out in full stretch. David Moyes, who distanced himself from the vacant Scotland job. David, of course, one of the favourites for the Scotland job after Gordon Strachan's resignation. Chicharito, for some reason, signalling on halfway. I've never seen that done before at Turf Moor. It's West Ham in the All Dark Strip. They're going to attack the Jimmy McElroy end in the first half. Full match commentary here from Turf Moor, and away we go then. As I say, West Ham in the dark strip. They're going from left to right in this match, and they keep possession early. And Burnley, of course, are in the claret and the blue. As Font gets that ball forward, former Southampton man in towards Andy Carroll. Big Andy Carroll. There was talk maybe Chicharito started on the bench, considering he's been playing international football this week. Early touch for goalkeeper Nick Pope, who's kept a very good clean sheet. Another feather in his cap for him. Everton last couple of weeks ago, foul against Chris Wood, free kick to West Ham United. Now he's starting the game in the top 6 of the Premier League. An amazing achievement really when you consider they've only lost 1 game out of a possible 7. Considering what they had to play, certainly away from home in the opening stages of the season, it's been a remarkable sequence of results. Only defeat to Stoke. Here's Creswell trying to play it on towards Arnautovic down the left, but Lawton is there, and Tarkowski Gets it back. He's Burnley's player of the month, incidentally. And he wasn't considered for any of the Premier League awards, which I found really baffling, because I think he's performed magnificently in a lot of the superstars that were shortlisted for the Premier League Player of the Month award. I do feel that it's a real frustration, a big club bias. That Scott Arfield was surely taken out there on halfway, and surely the referee's got to have a chat here to one of the West Ham players. I'm trying to think who it is. Chiati is the man who's been penalised. Took Arfield out, absolutely no question. There was definite contact there, just to the left hand side. Mike Dean is the fourth official, incidentally. I think he's probably the best place for him, considering here how his reputation, his horrible reputation as a referee, goes before him. A free kick to Burnley, which Brady will take about 5 yards in from the 5 yards inside the West Ham half. It comes to nothing in the end, because the header flicked on by Tarkowski was well wide of target. So a goal kick to West Ham United. Joe Hart in an all yellow goalkeeper's jersey, short sleeves. Spent most of the last season in Italy for Torino. Been given the nodding. Has been given the nodding goals for England in the recent internationals, which were diabolical really. We didn't really cover them in the end. We covered the Wales game as our international offering with our good colleague Chris Whiteman. It's a good job he commentated on it, because it was a great game for him to call. And I've got this game here at Turf Moor as Creswell crosses that into there. There's the penalty area. Pope just about did enough there inside the 6-yard area and got it out. Defoe trying to battle on with Creswell. Creswell knocking the header forward. Then the ball over the halfway line. Brady's onside, but he's a bit isolated. He's surrounded by about well, he's got one West Ham player with him. Defoe's offered him a bit of support down that right hand flank. Defoe shakes off two challenges, gets to the byline, and then dummies another one, gets the cross in. Hart decides to punch when under no great pressure. I didn't understand the goalkeeper's geography there. Here's Arfield now on the left hand side. Burnley now starting to lay a bit of siege here. Henrik now inside the penalty area, and well, I don't think there was going to be a penalty. I think Henrik just slipped there. Henrik, who had a superb game for the Republic on Monday night, causing that famous victory in Cardiff when Wales were done a job on. As we see that cross, Defoe there with the cross, and well, Hart under no great pressure, they're deciding to punch. I think he should have caught that, I have to say. He hasn't been the best few months or last couple of years. Joe Hart frozen now to the picture at the Etihad Stadium, and he hasn't performed well enough. And obviously Pep Guardiola fancies his own type of goalkeeper, and Ederson is good enough for him. And to be fair, Ederson has backed up Guardiola's faith in him, and by performing heroics already this season. Cork now finds Defoe 10 yards inside the West Ham half. Defoe travels the ball and plays it out towards the right flank, where Lawton is there. Now Brady to get the ball in. Robbie Brady's cross. He was cleared of any wrongdoing over an alleged but in the Wales game the other day by FIFA. Robbie Brady, so it means he'll play a part in the playoffs for the Irish as Chicharito comes forward over to the far side now, and West Ham look to try and create something here. Crossing was a very cumbersome cross, but Creswell won that one very well. Former Ipswich Town man. 5 minutes gone. Burnley 0, West Ham United 0. Here's Reid now, deep inside his own half. Chiati now takes possession, gets the ball back. In fact, Reid calmly keeps the ball in. The West Ham captain. No place in the side for Mark Noble, which is why Reid has got the skipper's armband on today. It's Joe Hart with the kick, right-footed. Over the halfway line it goes. It's a good long kick, but it's going to go to the other goalkeeper at the other end. There's a couple of players down on the floor. Antonio is one, and Ben Mee was certainly the other, but they're both back up on their feet. Pope has distributed the ball, and while whilst all that was going on, the ball was ricocheted out of play for a Burnley throw just shy of halfway in their side of their own half. We had just over 6 minutes gone. No goals here in this 3 o'clock kickoff. Remember, Burnley starting the day in 6th position in the top 6 of the Premier League, English Premier League. Who would have thought it? A hard-working, small-town team like the Clarets, a team that I passionately support and a place that I. Meanwhile, Chieti has won his side a goal kick, by the way. A team really that have performed on expectations. Sean Dyche is celebrating 5 years in charge now, and you think when he took over they were an humdrum mid-table championship team, the Clarets, with no selling best players left, right and centre. They weren't defending, and he cured that out within 6 months, and he had to sell a few of the players like Charlie Austin, certainly before his first full season when they won promotion. Meanwhile, Antonio tries the shot and he tries it with a good right-footed side foot on it, and in the end Pope just dived nonchalantly away to his left and put the ball out of the air, no trouble, just too close to the goalkeeper. If there's any criticism of Antonio's right-footed effort, and somewhere like 25 yards from goal. Here's Defoe takes it inside the centre circle, and now the ball goes back into the whole Burnley's own half, and it's with Lawton, then Tarkowski, now Ben Mee on the far side. Uses Ward as an outlet. Ward has to go back, however, to Ben Mee, who's taken over the captain's armband from the injured Tom Heaton, who's got his arm in a bit of a brace. He's had an operation. Indications show there will be still a few months to go before before he can get back into the side, and if they can get the recovery perfect and right, and there's enough time in the season for Heaton to make a massive contribution, then he can still make the England World Cup squad. Here's a chance for Arfield, 25 yards out, strikes it right-footed, a little bit tame perhaps along the floor, and it was easy for Hart just to trickle down to his right and grab the ball, no problem. It was Chieti there with the first poor touch, and Arfield, who scored a magnificent goal, you may remember, a few weeks ago in a previous Clarets match live against Liverpool at Anfield. Well, he could have repeated the dose there. Meanwhile, Ward onto Defoe, right hand side. Defoe gets the ball in, and Reed across, still Defoe. And Defoe is holding his face. Was there an arm throw there? Chieti was certainly involved that time. 9 minutes gone, still 0-0. We'd have to check a replay to see whether there was an arm thrown in the face of Stephen Defoe. Here's Wardo on the far side, on halfway, just inside the West Ham half, into Wales Henrik. Now Arfield trying to get Chris Wood in, but can't get it through. Still, Burnley now starting to ask 1 or 2 questions, and that's going to be a free kick foul there on Wood. A free kick to Burnley. Wood has got goals in the league against in the Premier League against Spurs at Wembley. That late equaliser which got us a point, and of course the winning goal against Crystal Palace from 3 or 4 weeks ago now. But it's a free kick to Burnley. Robbie Brady to try and float this one in. So we come just up towards 10 minutes gone as Brady curls that in, left footed in towards the area, and a one still might be kept in by Ward. In fact, he's gone behind for a corner. We have now played over 10 minutes and 8 seconds of the first half, and Burnley still being held here by West Ham United. And it is a Burnley corner, so the pressure will be cranked up a little bit more now on West Ham United as Robbie Brady prepares to take the corner. Just on the quadrant there, Wood and Tarkowski and Mee are both in for the cross as that ball comes in towards the 6-yard area. He's hit that with too much whip, in fact, and it's gone out over on the far side for a goal kick. He's curled that in with far too much whip on it, the Irishman, and it's out for a goal kick. No great opportunities so far of any real note, just a couple of half chances for both sides, which has just given Hart and Pope opportunities to touch the ball as the kick from Hart. Goes 3/4 of the way up the field, but it's cleared by Lawton. Gets it towards halfway where Wood knocks down, but he was under. I thought he was under pressure there. He's giving a free kick the other way there, Mr. Atwell. I thought it was a foul there by Reid on Wood, not the other way round. But Mr. Atwell disagrees with my version of things and decides to give the free kick against Burnley, as Reid is allowed to take it quickly. Right it in towards Creswell on the left hand side. Back to Reid again. 5 yards from the halfway line inside his own half. And sorry about the loss of sound there, folks. There was a chance for Wood, and then there was a possible handball shout for Andy Carroll. It's a West Ham corner. Back with you live. Just lost sound there for a moment or two, but we are back with you live. And there was a good crossing from the right from Matt Lawton, and it was. I'll just talk you through the Burnley opportunity when Wood went very close. But here's an opportunity now for Font inside the Burnley area, and then the cross back in there and headed away. It'll come for Creswell. Creswell touches it back, and then Defoe winning it there. He's a busy little bee in the centre of the field, Stephen Defoe. 14 minutes of the first half gone here at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, West Ham 0. You haven't missed anything at the moment. No goals have been scored so far, but it's still been a cracking little first half. Here's Tarkowski to get the ball forward. Now Ward knocks it long on the left hand side. It will come in field towards Henrik, and there's going to be a free kick here against Scott Arfield. Referee Atwell not impressed by that. Going to be left for goalkeeper Hart to kick away. It's a free kick to West Ham, in fact, fouled by Scott Arfield. So we've now played exactly a quarter of an hour, 0-0. Chris Wood with a free header from around 10 yards out, straight at the goalkeeper Joe Hart, with the best opportunity so far of the match. Possible handball shout maybe against Burnley, but to no avail. But we're still goalless here at Turf Moor. But it's been a decent watch. Now Defoe has gone down in a heap here. Chiatti involved once again now. It would be interesting to see what happened there on the replay. Defoe is in a bit of agony there. He's in a bit of agony there. He's holding his arm. This is what happened. It's Andy Carroll. Oh, this was the first header. And then as the camera pans, we'll see it from a much better angle. Chiatti there, I think, should be in the book by now. He's made a couple of rash challenges, I think, and he's lucky, in my opinion, that Atwell hasn't booked him, really. He's a bit of a... That was a bit of a fuggerish play, really, by him. And here's a chance now for Burnley inside the penalty area. But Brady can't get that ball through. Now a chance now for Tarkowski to get back. And then Arfield fouls his man. This would be ironic if Arfield was to get booked here. If he gets booked, then I have to say, then the referee will have been rather harsh on Scott Arfield. It was a little bit late, but I don't think it was late enough to warrant a yellow card. It was a foul on Mikel Antonio. I think the referee's going to give him a talking to. But why isn't he not talking to Chiatti, who's made one or two worse challenges than Arfield, but yet... And I think Antonio just looks for it. He knows that Arfield is there. He's used... Well, I just think the referee has fallen for that a little bit. Antonio's made a bit more of it than it needed to be, I have to say. Burnley 0, West Ham 0. 17 minutes and 20 seconds of the first half elapsed. And amazing to think, really, that both teams yet have yielded absolutely nothing so far. Burnley 0, West Ham 0. Here's Arnautovic. Arnautovic really yet to get into the game. Reid has it now midway inside his own half. The centre back for West Ham. His last defeat here was in 2010 January. A goal. And it was a terrific free kick, I think, from Danny Fox, which gave Burnley victory there. Forgetting who got the first goal, actually. It was a good finish as well. It will come back to me soon. I'll check the record books at half time and come back with you. But the game was fondly remembered for some heroic last ditch Burnley defending, and they might have to do some last ditch defending because Carroll had somehow got through and Tarkowski got there. Now here's a chance now for Wood on the break, but he's up against Chiatti, who does well, actually, in fairness to him, and gets the ball back rather calmly there to Joe Hart, who kicks 3/4 of the way up the field, and he's been missing. Antonio's in and he's around Nick Pope. Danger here now for Burnley, and Antonio has scored, and West Ham are in front. Oh, are they? Yes, they are. The goal is stood, and the West Ham fans are celebrating, and it's a goal that is totally come against, in my opinion, against the run of the play. I'd like to see whether he was offside or not, because it comes from a long boot up the field. And it's a poor bit of defending there by Burnley, and it's a poor bit of goalkeeping, it has to be said, by Pope. Nick Pope should be standing his ground here for me. Really poor defending, first of all, from Burnley. And Nick Pope, what's he doing so far out of his goal? That is ridiculous. It's a great finish from Antonio, let's give him credit, but that is appalling from Burnley and Nick Pope. It's just schoolboy defending, it's just horrible defending. And Antonio there with a pathetic dance in celebration, but I don't think West Ham have deserved it on balance of play, but it's happened, and it's a couple of really basic defensive mistakes really from Burnley that's cost them, and they trail at home by a goal to nil, and they don't deserve it, to West Ham, in all fairness to them, because Burnley have had the better of things. But Burnley now have to come from behind. But it's two mistakes. One for Burnley from the ground, from the kick away from Hart, and then Nick Pope just slack goalkeeping. Just completely utter slack goalkeeping. 1-0 though, West Ham lead. Here's Court for Burnley. We've not seen much of him really so far as an attacking force. Now Tarkowski. Tarkowski plays it infield. Good football now. Defoe will get it on. Defoe shoots, and with his right foot he shoots over the bar. Now, good comeback that from Burnley. And Stephen Defoe has probably been at the hub of most of Burnley's brightest plays. This time just hitting his shot into the West Ham fans for a goal kick to the Hammers, who barely deserve to be in the lead. I think Chiatti should be in the book for persistent fouling and fuggerish play. But it does lift the pressure just slightly on Slaven Bilic and his side, because they're under an awful lot of pressure. But Burnley have been the better team, but two defensive pieces of madness from Pope and me have cost Burnley a goal here. And it was schoolboy defending and goalkeeping, really. Now then, Bro to Burnley. They actually have conceded the first goal, but have not failed to haven't won after losing the first goal in a lot of the Premier League games they played in Burnley. Now this could be a real worry for them now. And they've got to use that famous fighting spirit here now. Here's Lawton to Brady. Brady on the right hand side. Brady, can he get the ball back? Defoe. Just need to be patient, Burnley. No fancy dance stuff. They don't want to be going in 2-0 down if we can help it. Here's a chance to help for Brady. Brady on the left foot. Brady shoots over the top, but a good effort that from Robbie Brady. Capable of things like that. We're just coming up towards the halfway mark of the first half here. Brady, they're just skipping away from Chiati's challenge and getting his shot in, and he just needed to keep that down a bit, and I think Joe Hart may well have had a problem or two there to face. Tarkowski, who hasn't put a foot wrong today, gets the ball forward, and here's a chance now for Wood on the break. Wood inside to the penalty area, checks it back towards Arfield, and Arfield looked as if he was bundled to the ground there by Collins, but the referee's given nothing, and away go West Ham again. Those dark shirts coming forward, and that's showing out for a throw to Burnley. Indeed it is. But it's a lead that West Ham do not deserve. Let's be brutally honest about that. West Ham fans may well disagree with what I'm saying, but I'm of the opinion that Burnley have been the better side. They've really attacked to West Ham really well, and Lawton and Brady linking up. Well, that's a foul. You can't get away with that, Arnautovic. That is an awful challenge. It was an awful challenge on Brady. The referee was right, and the linesman was 2 feet away. Wasn't going to get away with that, the Austrian. Wasn't going to get away with that at all. Look at this. He completely, utterly pushed him down. Assistant referee was on 2 yards away on the near side. You're never going to get away with that. Burnley have a good opportunity here to hit back straight here from a free kick situation. A lead they don't deserve to be losing in this game. And what can Robbie Brady do from this free kick? Can Burnley get back on terms? Brady will take the free kick in towards the 6-yard area, flicked on, oh, and he just evaded Wood at the back post. Tarkowski, I think Cole got the first flick on, and then it just eluded Wood at the far post. It was a lovely free kick from Robbie Brady in towards the penalty area, and he just couldn't grow enough or couldn't duck his head in to try and nod it goalwards. It was a great opportunity there for Burnley. They are creating chances there. There's a lot to be positive about, really, as far as Burnley are concerned, but I just think it can be sod's law at times when Carroll is going to be, oh, he has to be booked there. Carroll, you can have no complaints here. West Ham have come here with kick and rush and bullying tactics, and there's a player down. I can't tell who it might be, but it's a yellow card for Carroll, and I don't think he's got any cause of complaint. It's Tarkowski. It's an absolute joke, this West Ham team. They've come here, tried to bully. That's an elbow for me. I think that's a red card. I think he's got away with murder there, Carroll. That's a red card. He's absolutely elbowed Tarkowski, and he looked at the man. That is ridiculous. He should be off the field. Carroll should be off the field. The referee's got it wrong. It should be a red card. How has Carroll got away with that? I do not know. I have seen 2 replays of that, and Andy Carroll there has got off with murder. Tarkowski's okay, thank goodness, but I am very, very appalled with the referee there. That is a red card in my book. And people can accuse me of being biased, but I've seen replays of that, and he knows what he's doing there, Carroll. He's one of those players that he's got a physical presence about him, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and I think he should have been sent off the field. I don't think he's got any cause to complain. He's lucky he's got a yellow card in my book, Because I tell you what, a much more less lenient referee would have given a red. I would have given a red, absolutely for certain. West Ham have been well overzealous, well over physical, and Burnley are deserving of this 1-goal lead. And Carroll again! He's got to be in the. He's got to go for this. That's 2 blatant elbows in 2 minutes. He has to be sent off, and he's got to be sent off. Well done, referee. That is justice, absolute justice. Billich can complain all he wants, but Carroll deserves to go. Carroll deserves to go. Ben Mee has been taken out, and West Ham have completely lost their heads. 1 goal up and barely deserving of it, and Andy Carroll has to get off the field because in my book he is a thug. 2 thuggish elbows. He should have been sent off the first time. Then none of this would have happened. Justice has been done, and Billich needs to shut up and get back to his technical area, in my opinion, because that was just appalling. Burnley have got a man advantage, and Carroll knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly knew what he was doing. It's a ridiculous challenge. He went in with the elbow. He had he's totally lost the plot. And I tell you what, this is a game changer now. It's going to be Burnley's favour, but Andy Carroll, hang your head in shame. And then the behaviour after the red card was completely utter petulance. And Serafin Billich should have been sent into the stands as well. He's lucky he's not in the stands, Billich. That's an absolute West Ham a disgrace today to the league. I have to say, today. They've come out here with the idea. I think I have to say, Stuart Atwell could have saved himself a whole heap of aggro if he'd have sent off Carroll the first time. Thankfully, again, like Tarkowski, Ben Mee's alright, but all this could have been avoided after the first elbow incident. If Atwell had took the necessary action of a straight red card, none of this would have been necessary. And now Billich has got. I would be amazed if Billich is not sent to the stands here. He's totally lost his Ben. Oh, he's letting him stay on. I think that's ridiculous. He deserves to be sent off as well, Billich. He's just as bad as Carroll is. Oh my days. And, well, if he keeps on arguing, Billich, he will be going into the stands, into the director's box. There's no doubt about it. Meanwhile, back with the game. As Tarkowski goes forward, the ball ricochets a couple of times and it falls kindly for Joe Hart, but West Ham undeservedly in the lead, but deserved to be down to 10 men. I don't think so far we've seen a visiting team that have come here with bullying tactics, and I have to say they've come here with the intention here. Look at another clear push again. West Ham are just awful. They're not. This is not the West Ham we know and love. This is not the West Ham that's renowned for playing attractive football. I'll tell you what, Andy Carroll is a disgrace to the West Ham shirt right now. Because I tell you what, the likes of Trevor Brooking and Bobby Moore, he would be watching down from the sky disgusted, because that's not a West Ham player there. I'm sorry, but Andy Carroll is just an absolute pathetic excuse of a footballer. He goes round as if he's acting as if he's Billy big time, and well, he's just proved his petulant reputation there once again for all to see. Deserved to go, in my opinion. No, and another foul by West Ham. I have to say, this tactic from West Ham is absolutely ridiculous, and it's petulant and it's poor, and I would like to see that stamped out of the game. We've had half an hour gone. We've had a goal and a red card. The goal's been barely deserved by West Ham, I have to say, because they haven't deserved it. They've offered really nothing much, really. Chicharito and Carroll, up until his stupid red card. Deserved red card had offered nothing much else. It was two pieces of defensive madness from the Clarets that cost them the goal. But Carroll should have been off well. I have to say, Andy Carroll has got no defence to answer. Here's Stephano, and Lawton will get there, but Arnautovic will get there first, unfortunately. and hooks it away. But only as far as Ben Mee. Both Tarkowski and me are okay, but they know they're now been in a battle. But the good news is that Carroll is now been sent off. Burnley a goal down, but a man up. So a negative quickly countered up by a big positive there, because now it means that West Ham know. But however, West Ham now, they'll try and park the bus. That's a good ball in there towards Wood. Wood's there. Oh, surely took him out. It's got to be a penalty. It has to be a penalty. Oh, he's given a corner. It looked a penalty to me. Wood was clearly taken out by Joe Hart, and I've got to say, Joe Hart has surely got no case to answer. He's clearly took him out there. That should have been a penalty for me. Good ball round the corner. Wood times his run. I think that's a penalty. I'm just going to have a look at it from this angle, because he gets past the defender. That's a penalty. Hart gets none of the ball, and plenty of Chris Wood for me. That's a penalty. I'm not having that. Joe Hart has got away scot-free, and so have West Ham. Not for the first time. Brady with the corner towards the back post, headed behind for another corner. Second corner in the sequence. 32 minutes gone. And Robbie Brady running Usain Bolt style to the other side of the quadrant to get the ball into play, but Burnley denied a clear penalty. The referees had a mixed bag for me so far. Well, how on earth can you not give a penalty? That's just beyond me. Here's Brady with the corner towards Tarkowski at the back post. Header back there. Mee goes in. The ball is almost on the line, and then Joe Hart takes possession of the ball, but he should have had a penalty given against his name. Oh, I think that's a penalty, and I tell you what, Joe Hart is a very lucky boy in my opinion. I've got to be honest with you, I didn't think he got the ball. That was my initial reaction. I'm still going with that gut instinct. Well, I've got to say, West Ham here have turned this game into an absolute farce for me. They've not attempted to play any football whatsoever. They are an awful, they look an awful side for me. Very over physical, very overzealous, and no foul there. And you can, oh, get up. And I have to say, Chicharito, get up, because you're not fouled. You're not injured at all. Get up. Meanwhile, West Ham have a throw in midway inside the half, and oh, really, Antonio? I'm very sorry, but this is not the West Ham we know and love. But this is a penalty for me. He goes through, and Hart gets a lot of the man, absolutely nothing of the ball, and that for me is a penalty kick. And well, even a lot of commentators are saying it's a penalty, clear penalty, and West Ham have got away scot-free with some decisions here today. The red card aside, and even then he should have been down to 10 men. We'll give you a check on the other scores in just a second. The ball's gone out for a goal kick, which will be taken by Nick Pope. So whilst we're calming down after that little passage of play, time to keep you abreast of what's happening in the Premier League this afternoon. 3 o'clock kickoffs. So Palace 1, Chelsea 1, Stoke are 3-0 down against Manchester City, and Swansea and Huddersfield are 0-0, and Tottenham and Bournemouth at Wembley are 0-0. Watford Arsenal is a half-past-5 kickoff. It was also 0-0 in the match between Liverpool and Manchester United earlier today. But I think Carroll should have been sent off for the first elbow straight away. Then we wouldn't have had the second elbow, and we wouldn't have had all that kerfuffle prior to that. Here's Enric now in towards the penalty area. Burnley are looking for a brave way through, but West Ham have bought themselves a cheap free kick, and I have to say it was rather cheap there. I don't think Garfield touched him. I think Reed's conned the referee there. Should have been a yellow card for diving. It's easy to criticise the referee, and people might accuse me for a biased commentary, but I am a passionate Burnley fan, there's no doubt about it, and I want to see fair play as well for both teams. Also, I'm not defending Ben Mee or Nick Pope's part in the West Ham goal. A goal they barely deserved on the balance of play, because Burnley have done all the domination as well, and do look the more likely goal scorers for the next goal anyway. Here's Defoe now inside the West Ham half, just drifting field to Henrik. Henrik out towards Cork, left hand side, and the ball nicely chipped there towards Ward. First touch was a little heavy perhaps. The ball is kept alive. Now Cork now to Ward. Ward back to Henrik. Playing some lovely triangles here, Burnley, but just ran out of space. They've still got possession back. Still 1-0 to West Ham. A lead they, as I say, have barely deserved on the balance of play, and have deservedly gone down to 10 men for 2 horrific elbows by Andy Carroll. And what angered me even more about all that was that the way he reacted to being sent off, as if he felt hard done by. Well, in my opinion, he didn't feel hard. I didn't think he felt hard done by. I certainly didn't feel that opinion. I thought he deserved to go. He should have gone for the first one, I admit, but he was allowed to get away with it. And then 2 minutes later, he commits the cardinal sin of elbowing the other centre back, Ben Mee, and in the end, it's cost him a place in the game. And it gives Burnley a real hope, and that's a bit of a strong clearance, but it's found Lawton. Lawton trying to get the ball in behind towards Wood. Now it's all a case of all hands to the deck for West Ham. I have to say they've got away with a few decisions as well, West Ham. There's no doubt about that. Antonio chipping that in towards Arnautovic, and Arnautovic now left hand side chips it in easy this time for Nicky Pope. I think there was a flag up for offside anyway. Referee acknowledging the assistant's flag. 38 minutes gone. Burnley 0, West Ham 0. West Ham 1. Here's Defoe now on the halfway line, just trots out to the centre circle, plays it out to the left hand side where Ward takes possession, plays it back towards Cork. Cork in field to Henrik. Henrik now takes possession. Matt Lawton on the right hand side, just prepare to play the possession game and just try and break Burnley. Oh, could be a slip here by Fon, but in the end it's cleared, and it's a throw 5 yards or so away from the edge of the West Ham area. Ward for a moment then just wanted to shape up for a cross but didn't. Cork now plays it into Defoe. Defoe in field to Henrik. Henrik will try right foot, he gets it shot in, and it just clears the crossbar, and it will be a goal kick to West Ham. Burnley have had the better of things, but I've been frustrated here by some refereeing decisions and some really overzealous and over physical play from West Ham. That's not West Ham United. That's not West Ham United's brand of football. I think their fans should be very disgusted at the way they've gone about this game today. Of course you have to scrap and get 3 points and sometimes win ugly, but there's doing things ugly and then there's doing things beyond the line of the letter of the law, and West Ham have done far more they've gone across the line more than one occasion, and deserve to be down to 10 men in my opinion. They've not played with a sporting spirit. Burnley have played the football. West Ham have just been really overzealous and very thuggish, and Andy Carroll has got that sort of reputation as a very overzealous and physical player. Well, he's just got another big notch on his reputation now. Red card, 2 yellows, should have been a straight red first time. Here's Defoe, playing it in towards Arfield. Arfield just couldn't quite get there, and then Defoe, again the theatrics of West Ham. Aaron Creswell, a yellow card for Defoe for a first offence. I find that amazing when there's people like Chiatti who have fouled 2 or 3 times. I don't think that's a foul at all. He's gone in there to charge the ball down. There's no studs showing for me. I think Cresswell has conned the referee there. I'm sorry. Absolute pathetic from West Ham. They should be ashamed of themselves the way they've gone about their business first half. They should be ashamed of themselves. Defoe went in there to just try and block the ball. I just find that red yellow card baffling. And you got people like Chiatti who've got away with blue murder, not even a talking to for accumulation of 3 or 4 bad challenges. It just beggars the mind. Still 1-0 to West Ham as they try to go forward for a second goal. Mikel Antonio, in case you've forgotten, is the goal scorer, and that's a foul by Antonio. It was a really ridiculous thing, and then the ball played into Chicharito. He hit the post anyway, but he wouldn't have counted. But Antonio just wrestled his man to the floor. It was just, this is not. He's pushed Ward over there. Now the referee should be taking action there for that. That's cheating in my book. And West Ham, let's be fair, they've not come out and played football. They've come here and played dirty tactics. I know Slaven Bilic is fighting to stay alive in his job. I understand that he has to use methods, but there's a line you don't cross, and West Ham have crossed that line on more than one occasion, and that's made it even more bitter really for a lot of people to take inside the ground, as the ball just couldn't, the deflection just wouldn't favour Scott Arfield that time. But Burnley do get a throw 10 yards inside the West Ham half on the far side. Burnley very unlucky to be a goal down, but it was through their own making. Ben Mee with the initial mistake, and then Nick Pope really not strong enough goalkeeping for me has cost them a goal. But they don't deserve to be behind though when you look at the other statistics, as Robbie Brady now cuts in from the right, plays it to Defoe. Defoe crossing it in with that right foot of his, but it's headed away. Just wasn't the actual numbers in there to try and look for the knockdown perhaps. It was a good cross from Defoe, but just needed a few more numbers in there to try and get on the end of the cross. 2 minutes of the normal first half to go, and I would raise you at least another 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half. West Ham leading after 19 minutes through a goal out of nothing from Antonio, as Defoe shoots there. Well, he shaped to go with his right foot and then gave 1 or 2 West Ham players to slip. Then the ball trickles in, and that's going to go for a goal kick to West Ham. Then there was the elbows by Andy Carroll. The first one was on James Tarkowski, and I still maintain that should have been an instant red card. I think Stuart Atwell missed a trick with that one. And then 90 seconds later, same thing. Ben Mee clattered into him, used his elbow, clear elbow, red card. And then the petulance shown by Carroll and his manager really has insulted West Ham's perfectly good name for me, I'm afraid. And also Burnley should have had a penalty not long after that, when Joe Hart clearly took out Chris Wood inside the penalty area, but Mr. Atwell, who was just 10 yards away, felt it was necessary that it was a corner and not a penalty. And I have to say, the referee Atwell has not had his best 45 minutes. He's got a couple of decisions wrong. I think he should have sent off Carroll for the first one, and I think he should have given a penalty there to Burnley. But here come Burnley now with Brady running at Creswell, and Chiatti there, and another, I thought that looked another dodgy tackle there on Chiatti, by Chiatti I should say. West Ham here are just, they're just so awful at the moment. Here's Defoe again, and he was wiped out there. He was wiped out by Arnautovic. How many more of these? But Court wins it back though. Could work out alright for Burnley. Arfield, there's a man free on the far side, and Henrik goes down, but just keep his feet rather well, and then Font gets across. Still Burnley have it. Last minute of the first half. Hart going for it. The loose ball. Defoe hits it and hits it over the bar. Big chance that for Burnley. It was half a chance for Stephen Defoe in reality, but Burnley here asking a few questions here. This West Ham defence, how are they getting away? Joe Hart, another poor punch, and Defoe not really punishing him. It was half chance, to be fair. Henrik does magnificently well to keep his feet. Then Ward crossed in, and Joe Hart here, it wasn't the best punch in the world. Yes, I understand he's under pressure from the likes of Chris Wood, but that still doesn't excuse his goalkeeping. We've got 2 added minutes, and we've played a minute 40 seconds of the 2, so we've got just under a minute and 15 of the 2 minutes to go. And Burnley should count themselves very, very unlucky to be a goal down, because I don't think they've deserved it on balance of play. They deserve far more than that. In fact, I think they should be winning this game. That's how much I feel that Burnley have probably been robbed by a couple of awful refereeing decisions. And Antonio now trying to play into the corners as if it's the end of the game. It's not the end of the game. It's been an absolutely horrible West Ham team that have just really tread over too many lines as far as I'm concerned. An awful first half from West Ham, but very lucky to be a goal up and very deserving to be a man down, in my opinion. But it will set the second half nicely for Burnley, I think, and they will come at West Ham like anything else in the second half. Brady lost it though to Arnautovic. They can't afford to concede a second one, and here's Chicharito. Excuse me, here's a chance now. Gets the shot in, deflected, and easy save this time for Nick Pope. And we've had the 2 minutes, and referee Atwell will bring a first half to a close, which has been highly controversial. And I have to say, West Ham, hang your heads in shame. You might be a goal up for Mikel Antonio after 19 minutes, but some of the play, some of the foul play has bordered well over the line. Slaven Milic should have been sent off as well for remonstrating with the fourth official, because I tell you what, his petulance, I think Stuart Atwell has missed a few tricks there. Burnley should have also had a clear penalty when Joe Hart took out Chris Wood went through. Possibly had a yellow card given against his name, but West Ham predictably got away with it. I think he's trying to level the score out after the red card. And also, I have to say, West Ham have just been appallingly bad. Burnley have come out there, they've tried to play and tried to entertain and play the game. Good on them. But West Ham, you might be a goal up for Mikel Antonio, and you got it for a couple of mistakes from the Burnley defence, admittedly. But there's no way in this God's honest earth do Burnley deserve to be a goal down at this stage. West Ham, certainly a horrible team. They've not come here to play football. They've come here to be thuggish and try and rustle a few feathers, and they've certainly done that and some. But it was a mistake here from Ben Mee, and then a not good goalkeeping, I have to say, from Nicky Pope. It was a gift really for West Ham. But I'm not having the fact that West Ham have come here, they've not attempted to play football, and that is the annoying aspect of this first half for me. I'm going to take 5 minutes to settle down here, because the first half dominated by Burnley, but West Ham trailing. Let's look at the statistics. 8 attempts to 2 in Burnley's favour, 2 attempts on target each, in full fairness. 8 fouls to 6 in West Ham's favour. 1 yellow card, which I thought was harsh on Defoe. Red card, very deserved for Robbie Brady. Not Robbie Brady, Andy Carroll. Should have been sent off the first time. He got 2 yellows, incidentally. Offside 1, 3 corners to 2. But Burnley should have also had a penalty, which was wrongly not given. So, well, let's go through the first half highlights before we take 5 minutes. This was the first opportunity. Arfield nicking the ball from Chiati, hitting the shot. It was straight down Hart's throat, in fairness, diving away to his right hand side. Poor first touch from Chiati, and he just hit that there. Easy there. And this was another Burnley chance as Defoe got the ball on the right. He crossed it in towards Chris Wood. Free header from about 12 yards out. Maybe should be doing an awful lot better. I think if he gets that either side of Joe Hart and it's on target, that goes into the back of the net. And then the opening goal, it was a long punt here. Ben Mee, poor defending and poor goalkeeping, it has to be said, by Pope. Wasn't strong enough, wasn't big enough. Antonio went past him as if he didn't exist, and had enough pace and enough guile there to slam the ball into the back of the net for a lead at the stage. West Ham have barely deserved. Let's be honest, they've not really threatened that much in the game, and it's just a couple of defensive pieces of frailty from Burnley that's cost them that goal and the clean sheet. And then the nonsense started with Andy Carroll. That should have been I'm seeing the first incident there with Tarkovsky. That should have been a clear red card. Carroll claims he'd gone in there, but if you look at the replay, that he knew what he was doing. He knew where Tarkovsky was and clearly elbows him in the face. Look at him, he's clattered into it, his elbow has hit his chin hard. That should have been a red card, and then we wouldn't have had the second one on Ben Mee. And again, really clatters into him there. And I have to say, the referee had no opportunity but of a choice but to issue a second yellow. He should have, since, to be fair, I think he should have gone for a straight red 2 minutes previously, then we wouldn't have had all this nonsense. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't understand how referees' minds work a lot of the time. I think West Ham have just been appalling. And I think this is the penalty shot. Brady playing the ball through, and it was a lovely through ball, perfectly weighted, and that to me is a penalty. From the naked eye, it looked a penalty. Stuart Atwell, who was well in line with this, and I think he's well in line there, and I think the decision is a no-brainer. It has to be a penalty. It has to be a yellow card for the goalkeeper, and Burnley have been robbed yet again. So no look at the moment for Burnley, trailing to 10-man West Ham, and Burnley have played the better football. There's no doubt about it, but it's West Ham through their bully boy tactics, shall we say, that are winning this game undeservedly, in my opinion, by a goal to nil. We'll be back in 5 minutes' time. Welcome back to Turf Moor for hopefully a better second half in terms of let's hope the footballing teams actually get on top in the second half. I'm still very angry with the referee. Well, first of all for not sending out Andy Carroll for the first elbow rather than the second elbow, and then the second gripe is the penalty. But there has been some activity elsewhere, and we could have a potential shock on, because Crystal Palace are beating Chelsea by 2-1. Manchester City are 3-1 up against Stoke City. Swansea have gone ahead against Huddersfield, and Tottenham Bournemouth 0-0. These are all half-time scores. Earlier today, Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0, in what was really, I've got to say, a game that was just not living up to the height and the billing it got on every sports radio station in the country. It was just an awful game. Watford and Arsenal to come at 5:30. The team's just about out onto the field for the second half, and I have to say West Ham United should be ashamed of themselves for what they've done in that first half. I'm still bitter about what they've done. Bilic has come there with a complete utter tactic. They are a bunch of thugs and a bunch of dirty cheats at the moment that are they've scored a goal for a mistake by a defender. Fair play. They took the chance on offer. They barely deserve to be in front. And Carroll tries to protest his innocence when he's clearly guilty of elbowing incidents. I think there's going to be a double substitution used by Burnley, I think, unless they're taking on drinks. No, they are going to be using a double substitution. Johan Berg Gudmundsson and Sam Vokes. He looks pretty relaxed despite Wales' exit from the World Cup on Monday night. Again, you heard on this YouTube channel with my fellow colleague Chris Whiteman. Johan Berg Gudmundsson, fresh from that magnificent performance with Iceland. They've got through. He'll be playing in the World Cup next year. Well done to Johan Berg Gudmundsson and his Iceland side. A population of 300,000 people. It's a country with 300,000 population. It took everybody by surprise in the European Championships, and now they continue this great run into the World Cup as well. So, so a half-time change for West Ham. We'll confirm who's come off and who's gone off properly as regards that. So Burnley have used 2 of their 3 subs already, which is unlike Dyche really. But as Sam Welsh chases the first header on, looks like Burnley are going to swap. I think. Well, it depends on who is taken off. I'll be surprised if he's taken off Chris Wood, actually, to be fair. But I don't know what he's got to moan and complain about. I really don't, Bilic. I think he's very lucky to see his team 1 up. And they haven't come here to play football. They come here to be dirty and play ill-rotten, dirty games. Here's Creswell on the far side. So we're back up on underway here at Turf Moor. We've had 39 seconds of the second half, and the ball knocked down the side of the right flank, but it's hooked away by Joe Hart. Gudmundsson and Vokes on for Burnley. I think it's Aubameyang who's come on for West Ham United, incidentally. Remember, well, the last time we covered these two teams on the Clarets Match Live, it was at the London Stadium last December, and Burnley were a bit robbed of certain decisions there in that game, if you remember. West Ham got a penalty they should never have had, and they've always seemed to get the better end of the refereeing decisions in recent years. West Ham, there was that Mike Duff sending off a few years ago. So Scott Arfield is the first one withdrawn, and Gudmundsson takes his place. I'm not surprised. Gudmundsson, I think, should have been on at the start. I think Arfield has not done himself justice. I think he's fallen out of favour a little bit, fallen out of form a bit. So that's the first sub confirmed. We'll confirm the other two in just a second as the ball is flicked on towards Joe Hart. Second substitution is Jeff Henrik. So as I thought, it will be 4-4-2 with Wood and Vokes up front, which is not a great surprise. Wood and Vokes are a lot of people think they're two similar types of strikers. I can tell you something, Chris Wood is definitely not a Sam Vokes type striker, but he's certainly a strong man as well. But it looks as if Burnley are going to go 4-4-2. Henrik did his best, but I think tactically, Dyche had to get it right. And Arnautovic has come off, and that was a poor kick by Pope. Aubameyang, as I say, comes on. So the substitutions are confirmed. Here's a chance though for West Ham with Chicharito. Chicharito playing it round the corner. Ball back in there towards the 6-yard box, and it was Antonio again on the back stick, almost getting on the end of that. The former England international could have made it 2-0 for West Ham, which would have been totally undeserved on the run of the play. But you've got to give credit here to the little P Chicharito. Lovely play, and then the cross back in. And it was just half an inch away of getting a toe on it, but it all started from a really appalling goal kick from Nick Pope. It really was, and a poor kick. No live chat incidentally for this second half, as Vokes steals away on the right hand side, plays the ball, and it's a poor ball from the Welshman. But Goodmanson wins the ball back. Oh, he's won it, well, according to the referee, he's won it illegally. I don't see what he's done wrong there. I think again the referee's been conned by Lanzini. This is pathetic. Goodmanson, Lanzini's used him to buy a free kick, which West Ham, now I'm starting to lose faith with Stuart Atwell as a referee. We all remember that incident some 10 years ago in the Watford Reading match when he gave a ghost goal. I felt at the time he should have been sacked as a referee for that, as Pope just about gets the ball as Antonio was flying in there. Got a bit slow off his line there, Pope. Burnley really need to get a grip, and so does Nick Pope really. He's had a nervous start to the second half. Here's Cork to Defoe. Defoe now inside the West Ham half. Burnley need to just get up that good tempo they had it in the first half. Get Goodmanson and Vokes into the game as quickly as they possibly can. And Lawton's crossing towards Vokes. It might break for Vokes inside the area, and he goes down. Surely a penalty. They're not going to get it, I don't think. He's given offside. That's what he's given. Oh, we're not having any luck at all with these officials, I have to say. But this is more like it now from Burnley. In towards Vokes that time. He's level for me. Oh, the referee's assistant, you've got that absolutely wrong. That is not offside, and that was a penalty. So 2 penalty appeals waved away, 1 because of an offside and 1 because the referee was just so incompetent in the first half. And again, the incompetency of the officials once again bearing fruit once more. But Burnley can't be perturbed by that. Here's Brady, left hand side, gets a deflection. It will be a throw level with the West Ham penalty area on the left hand side. Something must give here in this second half. Ward to take it. 5 minutes of the second half just over now. Burnley 0, West Ham 1. Well taken short, back to Ward again, and then Brady. Oh, what an awful ball that was. Stephen Ward letting him know in no uncertain terms about that. Goal kick to West Ham, and really it's been a frustrating 50 minutes so far for the Clarets. They've clearly and utterly been the better side. Tottenham have taken the lead against Bournemouth, by the way, a goal to nil in that game. So could the Wembley hoodoo, as far as the Premier League's concerned, be about to end for Tottenham? And it's looking very bleak for Eddie Howe's Bournemouth at the moment. Really struggled this season, so are West Ham really. But they are playing some really appalling football at the moment, and they're not playing it right as the shot comes in, and it's easy for Nick Pope this time to pluck it out the air. It was Antonio again. He's probably Aubameyang rather with the shot. The only West Ham player that comes out of this with any great credit, if I have to give anybody credit, is Mikel Antonio. He's probably been their better player. The rest of them, they were a disgrace to the shirt. Here's Ward, left hand side, played in towards the penalty area, and then Defoe plays it on. Now Goodmanson chips the ball into the penalty area, and it's just a bit too high for Brady. Joe Hart takes the ball, no problem. Goal kick, and West Ham can just calm the situation down. Still 1-0. As Hart picks long up towards the near side as we look, and Antonio, the goal scorer, 19 minutes the goal was timed at when he went round Nick Pope after an awful mistake by Ben Mee. And again, Antonio on the right hand side. Looks it back to his goalkeeper. Here's Joe Hart, the England number 1. I have to say by default, he did make a cracking save at Wembley in one of the qualifiers last week against Slovenia. Again, we did cover on the YouTube channel. I'd forgotten that. Me and Chris covered that as a duo, as a commentary duo. Here's Goodmanson turning now in towards Brady. Brady turning rather nicely there. Burnley still playing the football, still plugging away. Ward gets the crossing, but it's charged down by West Ham, and then Antonio sort of loses the ball, and Goodmanson will win a corner out of that. And Burnley now have got themselves an opportunity here, and if they can get it on Vokes or Wood's head, they have got every chance. But the quality from Brady needs to be a little bit better, I feel. Defoe was, I think, was trying for a short one there, but short corner, but it's going to be on the left hand side, and the inside as we look. Burnley attacking the Jimmy McElroy end as the corner comes in towards the penalty area, towards the back stick. In fact, Tarkowski did win the header, but there wasn't enough, wasn't a clean contact to header it back across the face of the penalty area, and West Ham cleared. Now it's back with Jack Cork. Cork now to Stephen Defoe, and Defoe looking for support, looking for runners, not many coming forward of him. Now Tarkowski spreads the ball through towards Wood, who's collected from behind there surely, and Burnley have a free kick in a very promising position. It was Sam Vokes in fact that was fouled. Silly challenge really by from behind. Referee should be getting his notebook out there for me. I find that bemusing when a referee doesn't give a free kick for that sort of a challenge. But Robbie Brady and Stephen Defoe might fancy this. We're coming up towards 10 minutes of the second half gone, and if there's ever a time now to get an equalising goal, now is this time. And Joe Hart will have to make sure that wall is 100% correct, and it's the full 10 yards back. Will it be the right foot of Defoe or the left foot of Brady? And we know from Robbie Brady that he can hit them. Looks as if it's going to be the left foot of Brady. It is going to be Robbie Brady with the left foot into the wall. It might still break here for Burnley inside the area. Looked like a handball there by Lanzini, and the referee did not spot it. Oh my word, it looked a clear handball by Lanzini. It should have been a penalty. Burnley should have had 3 penalties now in this game. 10 minutes of the second half gone. The ball in there towards box. First of all, there was a push there by Reed, and then look, it comes off his hand. That's a penalty. That should be a penalty. How is that not a penalty against Lanzini? This is ridiculous now. Burnley must be wondering what they need to do to get a decision in this game. The referee's been totally and utterly awful since the sending off. He's been totally biased to one team, and that's not a foul. Now Creswell was looking for that. Bilic, oh, give him. The referee should be taking action against Bilic as well. He can't be proud of this sort of performance from this team, because this is not a West Ham team. This is not a West Ham team based on good attacking football. This is not the West Ham way. They're a disgrace at the moment. Here's Chicharito inside the area. Antonio shoots. Good save. Nick Pope. Really good piece of goalkeeping then. And Mikel Antonio with his left foot, who has been at the hub of the, well, if you can call bright sparks that West Ham have had. Well, he certainly almost produced a bright spark for them then. But it still would have been a lead that it would, even if they'd gone 2 up, it would have been a lead they've barely merited. And the tragedy here is it could still be that way, because it's a corner now to West Ham in towards the 6-yard area. Pope is there and catches it well under a lot of pressure. That was a good test of Nick Pope's character there. Did well. Here's Defoe now deep inside his own half. Finds Jack Cork. Did well, and Cork pirouetted and swiveled superbly and found Lawton, who finds Goodmanson on the far side. Goodmanson has got Defoe, uses Defoe. Defoe gets it out to the left hand side, and in fact Goodmanson is now on the left hand side. And he plays it infield to Defoe. Defoe has got Ward out on the overlap. Ward and Brady, Goodmanson and Brady must have swapped planks for the time being as that cross comes in. Swiped away by West Ham. It will be a throw to Burnley. They're knocking on the door, the Clarets. Stephen Ward knows that they've got to get on with it quickly. Here's Defoe with his right foot in towards the penalty area, towards the back post. It's got to be a chance, and oh, it was Lawton, I think, of all people, at the back post, who was half an inch away from getting a substantial contact on the ball, and if he connects, it's 1-1. And a delicious right-footed cross from Stephen Defoe, and Lawton, I think he just needed to grow another inch or two, and that was 1-1. Oh, what an opportunity that was. Should have been an equaliser for Burnley, and then there would have been even more justice then. Just no justice in this world really for Burnley, really. Poor Sean Dyche doesn't know. Poor Sean Dyche doesn't know what to do, really. Here's Wood now. He runs into Aubameyang, and then the ball ushered back to goalkeeper Joe Hart, who's got away with one or two things himself. The penalty incident and a couple of dodgy punches away, which weren't punished by Burnley. Coming up towards an hour gone, we play 59 minutes of the second half. We've played 59 minutes now. Here's Stephen Defoe. And there will be questions asked to the referee since the red card. Should he have sent Carroll for a straight red? Should Burnley have had not one, not two, but three clear penalties? And I know Ben Mead's been penalised for fouling Chicharito, and I don't like the West Ham's attitude. I don't think that's a yellow card. You can't. I think if they're going around showing imaginary yellow cards, the West Ham players they need to be in trouble for. I think the FA need to take them to task for bringing the game into disrepute, because some of their attitudes today, I have to say, from West Ham, have bordered on the lines of stupidity and ridiculousness, as we just see an opportunity there for Antonio to what he thought was going to be the second goal, but Nick Pope had other ideas. But Antonio's there, but so too is Pope. Antonio has hurt himself, if you can call it that. I don't know whether the injury is genuine or not, or whether he's just faking it to try and get the referee to stop it. If he is trying to do it illegally, then I think he's a very silly lad. Here's Stephen Defoe. Referee standing for no nonsense now. Here's the ball from Tarkowski towards Folks. It'll break forward. Now Brady. Brady inside the area, left hand side of it. Loses possession. And almost won it back there against Chicharito. Very slippery sort of character. Kiate, who should have been in the book in the first half. More deserving of that honour than Stephen Defoe was. Zabaleta got in that one away. Here's Stephen Ward for the Clarets, left hand side. And now Brady. That's a good ball from Brady. Perfectly weighted. Ward, oh, played it across the face, and just no one was in the 6-yard box. And then the cross back, still in play, so Burnley still have a chance. Ward surely obstructed there by Zabaleta. Who gives Ward a sarcastic smile. I just don't understand this referee. I really don't. But look at that for sheer weight. And Ward had to play the ball in. And Fox was just a little too slow, maybe, on the mark, perhaps, to receive that cross in from Ward. He had to cross it in as soon as he could. Stoke City are now 5-2 down at Manchester City. So Man City, no problems there. We've had over an hour gone hit the turf. Antonio is okay. I think he was trying to fake that, to be quite honest with you. I don't like it when players do that. Here's Woods now for Burnley. And towards Goodmanson. Goodmanson trying the shot in. It's a good shot, and the goalkeeper just about held on. And now he's trying to play stupidity now, Joe Hart. This is, I think West Ham are starting to get a bit too fly for my liking here. They are such... Oh, really? They are I mean, in fact, it's hit the post, Gudmundsson. In fact, I thought Hart had fielded it first time. Gudmundsson has struck that well. Hart's beaten, and it's hit the post. And Joe Hart then showed some very stupid pieces of arrogance there. I've got to say, he can wear a smile on his face, but I'm afraid that is just a sign of an arrogant man who thinks he's Billy Big Time. Still, Burnley coming again. They've hit the post now. I didn't realise it hit the post. I thought Hart had saved it, actually. But still 1-0 to Burnley. West Ham, rather. A goal against the run of the play after 19 minutes by Mikel Antonio. But really, it's all been Burnley from there on in. Here's Cork now. To Defoe. Defoe getting it in there. To Boakes. Boakes playing it out towards Brady. This is lovely football by Burnley. Surely this has got to be rewarded. Brady's cross got a deflection. It falls to excuse me, Gudmundsson. And then Defoe with a shot straight at Joe Hart this time. Still got a bit of a cold, so if I keep turning the mic on and off, I do apologise. Straight down the goalkeeper's throat this time from Stephen Defoe. West Ham still somehow winning by a goal to nil. But Man City have now gone 6-2 up against Stoke, so I don't think there's much doubt about that result at the Etihad Stadium this evening. Here's Robbie Brady now for Burnley. Left hand side, goes in past Chiatti, and then infield to Stephen Defoe. Defoe out towards the far side, and Burnley now just starting to build up ahead of steam. Surely a goal's going to come from this. Lawton now plays it back. Defoe. Surely something has to happen here for Burnley. We've played 64 and a bit minutes. Here's Ben Mee. Now to the left hand side, Stephen Ward. Ward infield to Robbie Brady, who's starting to make things happen for Burnley, and then, oh, that's an awful ball. And Defoe just miscontrolled it. He's had a good match, Stephen Defoe, in all fairness to him, but that's probably the first real error he's made there. And Burnley had West Ham pinned back there. That'll frustrate Sean Dykes a wee bit there. There's David Sullivan in the crowd with his missus, I presume. No Karen Brady in the director's box at the moment, unless she's busy with The Apprentice. There's David Gold. He's in a John Motson sheepskin coat. 66 minutes gone. Here's Antonio now right at the penalty area. Antonio cuts in, gets his shot in, and it's straight down the goalkeeper's throat. Nick Pope doing well, former Charlton goalkeeper, and he has to get on with it very well here, because here's a chance now for Lowton. Lowton in towards Stephen Defoe. Stephen Defoe now to Jack Cork. Jack Cork now in the centre circle, gets it over halfway line to Robbie Brady. Brady now, patient build up this from the Clarets. Here's Ward down the left hand side. Ward running at the defender here. Sabaleta in towards Ward again. Plays a 1-2. Ward goes down. Referee Atwell's not going to give anything by the looks of it. And West Ham again, not for the first time to Bam, and then oh, that's another awful decision against Ben Mee. Stuart Atwell, get your head screwed on, mate, because that's not a foul. Chicharito's looking for that and has conned the referee. How many more times? How many more times do we have to see substandard refereeing in this Premier League? He's missed some big tricks today, Stuart Atwell. He should have been sacked as a referee 9 years ago. And the football authorities, the Professional Match Officials Association, got to take a long, hard look at him if they really do see him as the future of Premier League refereeing. I'm sorry, but Stuart Atwell, you have had a stinker, my friend. Here come West Ham now with Aubameyang. Now Lanzini. Lanzini now touching it back. Back in towards Aubameyang. Aubameyang will get the shot in. It deflects off Tarkowski, not for the first time. Well, he's sticking his body on the line, James Tarkowski. That's one of the great features of his defending. And Cork rather easily winning the ball off Antonio. And it's Vokes on to Wood. Wood controlled it with his hand, apparently. I thought he controlled it with his chest. How can the referee, when 30, 40 yards away, make a decision like that? This is ridiculous. He's not touched his arm one iota. He's used the chest there. I'm sorry, but this referee has had a horrible, horrible match, and he needs to be struck off the league list. I'm really getting a bit sick and tired of this referee making really ridiculous calls. We've had 67 minutes into 67 and a half minutes, and I've got to say the referee in this match has been a very, very awful. How you don't spot an instant red card for a first elbow, and yes, he may have made up for it with the second elbow, but if he sends him off the first time, there's no need for the second, is there? And then he fails to give a penalty, not one but two but three penalties to Burnley. It's just, I'm due to go to work in my day job at 6 o'clock tonight, and I'm not in a very good mood, and I won't be going there in a good mood. And Antonio now is going to be pulled up, surely. West Ham here, they're a disgrace. They're a disgrace of a football team. The referee is a disgrace to refereeing at the moment. I tell you something. That's a ridiculous shackle. That should be a yellow card. He knew what he was doing, Antonio. And he should be booked for petulance as well. He had no case to answer. And that looked a clear push on Vokes by Zabaleta, but he's allowed to get away with it again. How many more times are West Ham going to get away with decisions like this? Bit of sportsmanship there between the two number 5s, which is good to see. But I'm very sorry, Stuart Atwell, if you think you've had a good refereeing performance based on this performance, then you must be deluded in the head, son. Because there's no way you can count that as a good piece of refereeing. Absolute disgrace. And there will be questions asked of him after the game. More from Burnley than West Ham, I would wager. Because if he sends off Carroll the first time, we wouldn't have had a situation where when Carroll clearly elbows Ben Mee, then we wouldn't have had all that aggro after that. He needed to be much stronger on the first elbow, and I don't think he was strong enough. And then the failure to give 3 penalties. If Defoe knocks that ball in towards Sam Vokes, he won the header, and it will be a goal kick to West Ham. But the decision is not to give Burnley not 1 penalty, not 2 penalties, but 3 cast iron penalties is an absolute joke. And I have to say, the referee is one of the worst referees we've ever seen, or Turf Moor's probably ever seen. The West Ham fans should, well, they don't deserve to be singing or shouting. They should be being beaten, really, by rights on paper. But then again, when was football fair or won on paper? Some serious questions have to be asked after this game from the refereeing viewpoint, and the failure to send off Slaven Bilic as well, when he was totally out of order on the touchline over the Carroll incident, the 2 Carroll incidents. Again, serious questions have to be asked on that particular incident as well. I think Bilic should have been sent to the stand, but the referee rather sympathetically let him stay on in this technical area. Can West Ham get their deserved comeuppance? Jack Cork will do his best, and he's going to win a free kick in a very good position. And Jack Cork having a go there at Antonio, because it was a nasty little challenge that. Stuck out a leg. And Burnley now, can they get themselves, they deserve to be on terms, definitely. They deserve to be in the lead or by rights, because they've actually played football, and that's what the game we're supposed to be covering is about. At the moment, West Ham have gone about it as if they've been some kind of rugby league team and have rough and tumbled everything, and I don't think that should be the case at all. But can we see the footballers come out on the right side of things? Can Burnley get themselves the equaliser their players merited? The Clarets Match live. We've had 71.5 minutes. Can Burnley get themselves back into this game? We saw Brady against Leeds come up with something spectacular. Could he produce something similar? Or could Defoe shock the world? It could well be Stephen Defoe. But it's a shorter run-up. Brady has gone a little bit longer. West Ham got to make sure that they stay behind that vanishing spray that the referee's put on the floor. It's Defoe with his right foot deflected. It might fall for Cork. Deflected away. Will be a Burnley corner. They are asking the questions here, Burnley. Came off Lanzini. Came off Lanzini's back, actually. It's a corner. Burnley now need to get on with it. Burnley have had 5 corners, West Ham have had the 3. Robbie Brady needs to be a good delivery, I think, with the left foot on the left hand side as that ball comes in towards the 6-yard box, and just no one was there. Ward has followed up and has kept it alive, and then it takes a nick off Zabaleta and it's away. But oh really, it's just, I wonder if Turf Moor's got a gypsy curse on him today. It really has, or the referee's got a gypsy curse on Burnley. Oh, that's an awful clearance, and Wood was almost in there, and Joe Hart had to be alert, and that's probably the first actual piece of goalkeeping, proper goalkeeping he's actually done there. Well, we've seen a collector's item as Joe Hart actually fielded and caught a ball. There we are, collector's item there for you all. Still 1-0 to West Ham, a league barely deserved on balance of play. West Ham have been a poor second in comparison to Burnley, one has to say. Antonio keeps possession, and the ball back again, and Hernandez tackling there with Ben Mee, and well, it's West Ham's ball. It's just been a frustrating afternoon all the way round really for Burnley. And it's a lead they've barely merited. We're just seeing, let's just update the scores, shall we, from what's happening here, because there's all sorts going on. Right, Burnley 0, West Ham 1 is the game you're listening to. Palace still leading Chelsea by 2-1. Man City 6, Stoke 2, Swansea 2 up against Huddersfield, and Spurs in the lead against Bournemouth. Watford Arsenal is a 5:30 kick-off at Vicarage Road, and West Ham are about to make a change, so waste a bit more time in the old dark arts of the game. I hope the fourth official, Mike Dean, is adding time on. Well, it's Hernandez that's been withdrawn, and it's number 15 Sacco who's going to come on for West Ham United. I wonder if Stuart Atwell's been taking refereeing lessons from Mr. Mike Dean, because quite honestly he's had an absolute stinker. Although it would be a performance I think Mike Dean would be proud of. West Ham have won a corner on the right hand side, quarter of an hour to go. Burnley really need to get their finger out and get up the upper end of the field, and it's no good for them being stuck at the right hand end of the ground where West Ham are attacking and have this corner on the right hand side with Lanzini, who crosses in towards the 6-yard box, and Burnley did win the header this time. Gudmundsson battling, couldn't win the second ball that time, but it does break kindly for Stephen Defoe. His fitness really clearly showing. There's a big difference in his fitness from last season. Brady took that down legally, I thought, and in fact Burnley have got the decision against Zabaleta, so a 3 kick to the Clarets. Again, about 35 yards from goal, but it may well be floated in by Robbie Brady. I don't think it's far enough for a shot. Definitely not a handball there. Gets away from Lanzini. There was no complaints from West Ham, by the way, in all of that. So, surely something must give here. Can Burnley get themselves the equaliser? 2-4-5 up in the penalty area. What is your left foot like, Robbie Brady? Brady curls it in towards the penalty area. Well defended, I have to say, by West Ham. And then Defoe rather scuffs that a little bit, but he finds Brady the second time around. And then back with Tarkowski on the Ward-Robber on the halfway line. Now Defoe. Burnley starting to ask some questions now, some serious questions. In towards the area. Chance here for Burnley. Hard to save somehow. But I think the flag has gone up for offside anyway. So the save was in vain, and the linesman again denies Burnley. It's just not coming off for the Clarets today by the looks of it. Was it going to be one of those days? Let's have a look at it again. Yes, there's just about, well, there's 2 of them offside in fact. Tarkowski was the man I think that was flagged offside, or it was adjudged to have been offside. It was offside. That's probably the first decision that West Ham have had that's been fair in their favour. Burnley 0, West Ham 1 is the score on the Clarets Match line if you joined us late. They've led since the 19th minute. A mistake from Ben Mee, a rare mistake from Ben Mee, letting Antonio, who went round the goalkeeper Pope, who should have narrowed the angles an awful lot better, I feel, and put it into the empty net. And then there was the two elbows with Andy Carroll. And I think that's where the referee started to lose control of the proceedings for me. He should have sent off Carroll for the first elbow, which was clear on Tarkowski. And then 90 seconds later he did exactly the same thing on Ben Mee, showed a second yellow card and was off. Which means West Ham have been playing now, I think, since the 26th minute with 10 men. Burnley should have had 3 penalties. The one, certainly 3 cast iron penalties as they pumped the ball into the penalty area. They've had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities. Chris Wood, Robbie Brady has had a couple. Goodmanson has hit a post. But still, no breakthrough yet for Burnley as they look to try and restore parity here, which they, on balance, they should be well worthy of. They've been excellent value, but haven't got the rewards their players deserve. Now Ward will race to keep that in. He does well to get the cross in, but there's just no one in the area, and Joe Hart was in the right place to pluck it out the air. And again, another rare connectors item. He's actually caught something. Well, this has been an awful afternoon really for Burnley. They have just, it's just been an absolute disgrace to the game. But Roy Hodgson looks like working the oracle at Crystal Palace. That's a great result for them if they can hang on against Chelsea 2-1 at Selhurst, and could be well first on match of the day. 79 minutes gone, 11 to play plus time added on. Referee, Burnley were in possession. He could have brought the play back after the attack had gone. This is a prime example of Stuart Atwell just writing his name all over this game. The decision to give the yellow card is a correct one, but do it after Burnley. I felt there was an advantage there. Burnley had an attack going. There's no doubt it's a yellow card, but wait until any advantage had petered out, and he didn't give the game chance to breathe. And I find that very weak refereeing. Although the yellow card in theory and the letter of the law was the correct thing to do, he should have let the game flow for a little while longer to see if there was any advantage forthcoming for the Clarets, and then pulled it back. Just common sense refereeing. And it's just, I think Stuart Atwell has been determined right from the get-go to referee this game and write his name all over this. And I have to say, it's probably been the worst individual refereeing performance of the season on any of our live matches we've covered. And there's been several of awful decisions. Now, Stephen Ward's going to come off here for Burnley with 10 minutes to go. Now, I'm assuming it's like for like. It could well be Charlie Taylor coming on here. No, it's not. He's sacrificing a defender here, Jaich. Now Ashley Barnes will throw himself about a bit. Ward is giving his best shots, but it's Ashley Barnes now. They may as well go for broke, Burnley. West Ham are down to 10 men. I can understand Sean Dyche's theory to do that. They have to go for broke, because the game, if Burnley can get possession back straight away, I can guarantee you the game will be exclusively played in the West Ham half of the field to our left. But Burnley must get possession and get a foothold of the ball, and they have done with Chris Wood. Chris Wood now plays it towards Goodmanson, who's over the halfway line, plays it in towards Wood. Wood now to Barnes, who gets his first touch. Barnes almost got it through to Vokes. He was a bit unlucky there. It was a nice idea from Ashley Barnes. Now a chance here for West Ham to break away down that left hand side, but good tackle there by Tarkowski. He's had another good game. Tarkowski, if he does end up on the losing side, then I think he's a very unfortunate lad. But I tell you what, West Ham have disgraced the football, and they've ruined their good name in one full swoop today. I used to admire West Ham many years ago, and they had a very good team on there. We read that they had exciting young players and people like that. They haven't anymore, I don't think. Too many of these lardy-dardy foreign types and cheating so-and-sos and everything else. And there's another prime example of out-and-out cheating again. And Sean Dyche was 2 yards away and tells Lanzini to get to his feet in no uncertain terms and smacks him on the back. Here's Brady now for Burnley. Brady, decent crossing there. Oh, I tell you what, that was almost an own goal there. Hart's taken somebody out, I think, or he's taken himself out. He's taken Barnes out. Purely accidental, I should add. Barnes really does throw himself into the action, if you like, and in fact he was very sporting there with Ashley Barnes. Once again, though, Burnley asking a few questions. Again, a lovely perler across there from Robbie Brady, and Hart, I think he's a bit lucky to get away with that one as well. Although in fairness to the goalkeeper, it's purely accidental, but the defender had that under control. Take nothing away from the cross from Brady, but Font had that covered all the way. And why Hart had to come out to even punch there, I do not understand, but it was purely accidentally. Well, Burnley, well, on another day you could have said, well, penalty. But can Burnley equalise now? They've not got much time left. They are starting to rapidly run out of time here. Brady with the corner, left-footed in towards the penalty area. Flicked on, still not away. Part wasn't a convincing punch, and he's got away with it again. It was hacked away by West Ham for a throw. Level with their own penalty area to Burnley. Hart getting away with it once again. And now it's not helping the ball hitting the photographer on the near side. Burnley have to get on with this. Ben Mee might as well go for broke. He's going to throw it long. Level with the penalty area. Throws it in towards the penalty area. The flicks are on, but it comes to Cork. Cork, it just won't break for Burnley at the moment, and West Ham scramble it clear towards halfway, where Tarkowski will pick the loose ball up, plays it back to Pope, who's now virtually a spectator now for the rest of the match, you would think, because Burnley will do all the questions here. Can they save a point? They've been worthy of a victory the way they've played today. They've played some terrific stuff and just haven't had the luck. That one! What a score! What a score from 6 yards out! And Burnley determinedly are back in this game! Burnley are back in the game! Chris Wood with his third clean goal of the season has made it 1-1, and the cheers are there for all to see. A booking there for Chris Wood, a bit harsh I thought, but still 1-1, and still 5 minutes left to Burnley to win the game. Now this is a test of West Ham's resolve, and Burnley do not give in. They do not give up, and my goodness, Goodmanson here takes on the defender, whips in a perler of a cross, and in came Chrissy Wood between two defenders, virtually unmarked. Did the simple things right, headed into the ground, and into the corner of the net it went. And it's pandemonium here at Turf Moor. It's Burnley 1, West Ham 1, and Burnley deserve that. They more than deserve that now. Now they've got to go out there and win the game. Well, what a 5 minutes we got ourselves here. Free kick to West Ham, but to Burnley rather. Nick Pope will take it 10 yards from halfway, and Zabaleta not with a good defensive header. It might break there for Tarkowski, but it's headed coolly back to Joe Hart, and now we've got 4 minutes to go. There's also a West Ham player down there. Sorry to keep switching the mic off. I still have the effects of the cold from the other week that's still draining around inside my body. There's a player down for West Ham. This looks a little bit more serious. Kayati is down on his haunches. And maybe just a little bit of justice on what's been a frustrating afternoon for the officials. That still doesn't let the officials off the hook, by the way, or West Ham by any stretch of the imagination. No, they never rings around out this famous Turf Moor ground. And I tell you what, if there's anyone likely to score the next goal, I've got to say it's the men in claret and blue. Referee wasn't happy with the taking of the free kick, although I think he's allowed for a West Ham sub now to be made. Burnley have used all their free substitutions. And Musaku is going to replace Lanzini, so all substitutions have been used now by both sides. They can't use anybody else. So West Ham will have to retake the 3-kick. Well, Lanzini off. And Musaku is on, number 26. So 2.5 minutes plus time added on to go, and you would think it would be at least 4 minutes of time to be added at the end of the game. Burnley 1, West Ham 1. Reed has been booked in amongst all that as well. I don't know what for. I didn't see. Here's Ben Mee now getting in away for Burnley, finding Tarkowski. Now Defoe still inside the run area. Wood has been confirmed as booking. I don't understand why he was booked either. Here's Jack Cork. Cork out towards the far side. Defoe, who's really been has really dominated the midfield for me, along with Brady and Goodmanson in the second half. They've really gone about it the right way, Burnley, and they've played football in the way it should be played. They're giving it away, but Brady winning it back. Tarkowski there, right on halfway, just making sure that West Ham don't go any further. We're inside the last couple of minutes of normal time. Burnley have possession now, deep inside West Ham territory with Goodmanson. Goodmanson, the Iceland man, finds Brady. Brady knocks the ball in towards the penalty area, and it might break here on the far side. Joe Hart is coming out. The ball's in the side netting anyway, so a goal kick to West Ham. With just under 90 seconds of the second half remaining. Brady again with another accurate ball in. Wood almost flicking it on. It was behind Vokes, and in fact Lawton was dashing in there. Come off Joe Hart, so it is a corner, and they've worked it short here, Burnley. The ball in there low, but it's a wasted opportunity there for the Clarets. Not sure whether it was a cross-come shot from Robbie Brady, but it certainly trickled into Joe Hart's hands. No trouble. We're inside the last minute of normal time, incidentally, here at Turf Moor, and what an exciting finish to this game. And the grandstand finish. Have Burnley got one more attacking and to try and win the game? At a point would not be a disaster, but it would be a little bit of an injustice considering who they've had to play against and how their opposition have gone about it. And we need to see a little bit of justice maybe once done in this crazy game. Here's Zabaleta getting away, but he's been charged down by Wood. And then Vokes winning it, and I think it's going to be a corner. It's going to be a corner, and whoa, Zabaleta's gone mad. Zabaleta's gone mad. I think that was a corner. I think the referee's got that one right. Zabaleta should just shut up and get on with the game. Oh, he's overturned the decision. He's overturned the decision. I don't believe this referee. He got it right first time with the corner. Now he's overturned the decision. Oh my days. You tell me. Well, I'm disputing it. I think that's a corner. It comes off Zabaleta last. I think Zabaleta has conned the referee into changing his mind. I don't like people doing that. It's not in the spirit of the game. In my opinion, it brings the game into disrepute. We're into 4 minutes of time added on. We've had 20 seconds of the 4. Still time yet for Burnley to launch a few more attacks and possibly win this game. They've deserved to win this game. They've been much the better team over the 90 minutes that we've been playing. If you look at the statistics and the possession and everything else, Burnley ball, surely no, it's a throw to West Ham. And we'll try and waste a few seconds. They've been playing with 10 men since the halfway mark of the second half, when Andy Carroll stupidly got himself sent off for 2 bookable elbows. One should have been enough. A straight red. But we're now 3 minutes away from a possible draw. It wouldn't be a disaster for Burnley. It'd probably keep them in the top half of the table, in all honesty. But it would be a frustration because Burnley have deserved more than what they've got out of this game. They still might win it though. Into the penalty area it goes. It comes to the edge of the area and it's shot just wide. I think it was Brady, Goodmanson, with the shot, and it went wide with his left foot beyond Joe Hart's far post, and it's behind for a goal kick. And Joe Hart will take about 5,000 years over this, no doubt. We've had 1 minute and 30 of the second half of stoppage time. Oh, Lanzini bumping into Sean Dyche there. That was well. Maybe I did the. Well, Dyche is a big, bulky lad as Milton does the cover job. Throw for West Ham, halfway inside the Burnley half. 2 of the 4 minutes have been played. Mike Dean incidentally given the 4th official's role, but regardless of what happens here, there's got to be questions asked of the referee tonight. We will be going off air very, very shortly. In fact, guys, we won't have time for any interviews and stuff, so as soon as the whistle blows and we give you the full times from the Premier League or the latest scores, we will be on our way. Because I've got to be elsewhere tonight, I'm afraid. Burnley 1, West Ham 1. We're inside the 3rd of the 4 minutes. And West Ham here, I think Esther Atwell should be adding a bit more time on at the end here. I don't like it when they do things like this, I really don't. Here's Court now to win the next ball. Remember, we've got more action coming in the midweek Champions League on Wednesday. We've got a Champions League match on Wednesday for you. Earlier today it ended 0-0 between Manchester United and Liverpool at Anfield in a real lacklustre match. It's been far from lacklustre. We've had a lot of incidents and a lot of controversy. Andy Carroll, of course, sent off. Should have been sent off for the first elbow rather than the second, as Brady sends that in towards the penalty area once again. Header flicked on, and I thought for a moment it was going to drop for Ashley Barnes inside the area. 30 seconds of stoppage time to go, and here come West Ham on the counter attack. Burnley should have enough players back there to deal with that little counter from West Ham. Here's Defoe over the halfway line. 15 seconds to go. Just overran it slightly. Burnley still win it now with Goodmanson. Here's Cork. Is there going to be a late twist in the tail? Here's Ashley Barnes. Running at Zabaleta. Into towards the penalty area it went. Hooked away. Still. Anyone's there for the taking, and the ball played in, and it's gone well wide in the end. And Joe Hart, in fact, goes on the ball, and that probably is going to be it as regards the second half is concerned. And the referee, I'm sure, will now blow up after he lets West Ham waste another few valuable seconds. It's been that sort of an afternoon, really. Burnley deserve at least a point, if not 3, and there goes the final whistle. But it's I have to say, it's a game that's going to be remembered for a horrible 2 elbows by Andy Carroll. West Ham have got away with murder, I have to say, with a point. I think they barely deserved that on balance. Burnley should have had all 3 on when you look at the game objectively. Chris Wood with an 85th minute header, saving at least a point for the Clarets, but really and utterly they should have had all 3 really. They played against 10 men. Antonio seized on a mistake by Ben Mee to give West Ham the lead, which again was against the run of the play. But then the referee seemed to lose control after the first incident with Andy Carroll. He absolutely took out James Tarkowski with his elbow, looked around, elbowed him, and I felt at that time it should have been a straight red card. He let him off with a yellow. Then 90 seconds later the same thing happened again, this time with Ben Mee. He gets a second yellow, and him and Bilic and should have followed Carroll down the tunnel as well, because there was some brutal petulant stuff. Then there was 3 cast iron penalties that should have been given against West Ham as well, before Chris Wood came up with the equaliser. But really, Burnley, they should have had 3 points in the bag for me, but they were robbed by some awful refereeing by Mr. Atwell, who cannot be pleased with his performance this afternoon. Well, it's been an eventful afternoon down in the autumn sunshine at the Turf. I hope you have enjoyed this commentary. I know it's a little bit biased towards Burnley, a little bit. I am a Burnley fan naturally, but I had to. But I did call it with a heavy heart. I called it how I saw it in my head and my heart. And I've got to say, let's look at the match stats before we leave you tonight. 18 attempts to 8 in Burnley's favour, 4 on target to West Ham's 6. Bit strange that. 11 fouls committed to 14, 2 yellow cards each, 1 red card for West Ham, offsides 1 apiece. But there we are, that's it. Champions League football to come in midweek. But for me, JB, after a frustrating afternoon where the referee was just awful, and I will finish with this sentiment. West Ham, you are a disgrace. Your tactics today were a disgrace to the English Premier League and have insulted your club's good name. Bobby Moore will be turning in his grave. if he saw that sort of performance and the way Andy Carroll behaved this afternoon and Slaven Bilic performed. That is not in the spirit of West Ham United. But Burnley and the referee as well should not be exempt from my closing criticism. How does he not spot 1 penalty, 2 penalties, but 3 penalties? How does he not spot 3 cast iron penalties is beyond me. Burnley were robbed of a victory today, but at least they've got themselves a point on the board, and a point on the board is better than nothing, I suppose. It's finished 1-1 in a very eventful game at Turf Moor today. Hope you've enjoyed it, as I say. BJB, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.